Hello everyone, welcome to Barca News. It is July 19th, 2025, and Barcelona are reportedly considering the option of going back to the Olympic Stadium in order to play next season. Also, Rafa Yuste is set to leave Barcelona and join a Saudi club. And finally, reports in England stating that Barcelona are currently tracking the situation with Darwin Nunez. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Mo. We'll begin this video with the news that Barcelona are now considering the option of returning to the Luis Companys Stadium or the Olympic Stadium in Montjuic, as there's a chance that the Camp Nou will not be ready. Now, after only 2 weeks of announcing that Barcelona will be returning to the Camp Nou on August 10th, 2025 for the Joan Gamper Trophy match against Como, Barcelona yesterday announced that has been ruled out because Barcelona will not be able to obtain the occupancy permit on time in order to return to the stadium. So now Barcelona have decided that the Joan Gamper Trophy will be played at the Johan Cruyff Stadium, which is the stadium where the Barcelona Femení and Barça Athletic play their matches. Now, don't get me wrong, I have been to that stadium. It's a very nice stadium, but nonetheless, it only seats 6,000 people. So not the kind of stadium that you want to have the first team playing at, because of course it simply cannot fit all the people. They want to see Hansi Flick's players. Now, Barcelona reportedly are still working towards the objective of returning to the Camp Nou by the September 14th, September 15th weekend, which is when Barcelona will play the first home match for this upcoming season. It will be the 4th fixture of La Liga. The 3 first fixtures will be played away because Barcelona requested from La Liga that they play the first 3 fixtures away to give them more time to get the stadium ready. La Liga approved it. So the first 3 fixtures are away. The 4th one against Valencia will be home. So objective is still to go back to the Spotify Camp Nou to that 4th fixture. However, it's reported that Barcelona are currently considering the option of going back to the Olympic Stadium at Montjuic because there's a chance that the Camp Nou might not be ready by the September deadline. Now, of course, this would be a big problem because if Barcelona do begin the season at Montjuic, as you know, per UEFA rules, if you start the Champions League at a stadium, you cannot change that stadium until the group stages are over. So that means that Barcelona would have to stay in Montjuic until the group stages are over, which should be sometime around end of January, beginning of February, which means that Barcelona will play most of the season at Montjuic, which of course not only is disappointing because we want to go back to our stadium, but this would mean a huge financial blow for Barcelona. Now, Barcelona's vice president, Elena Font, came out and explained what happened, why Barcelona announced that we're going back to the Camp Nou on August 10th and then retracted that announcement. And this is what the Barcelona VP had to say. Despite our announced intention, we have reached an agreement with the city municipality to postpone the return to the Spotify Camp Nou Stadium, which was scheduled for August 10th on the occasion of the Joan Gamper Trophy. The reason is the inability to strictly comply with the municipal instructions regarding the execution of the works and their deadlines, as well as the insufficient time needed to complete all the necessary procedure and transactions. The scale of the completed works and those still in progress make it difficult to reconcile with the literal interpretation and application of the municipal instructions and regulations when requesting the initial occupancy permit. It should be noted that these regulations were primarily designed for traditional buildings that are considered completed and they are constructed, completed, and then undergo the necessary inspections before being put to use. We are currently working with the city municipality and all relevant parties to find this alignment and to obtain the initial occupancy permits as quickly as possible. However, we are dealing with a unique construction project executed daily and changing every day. It is a living project, and for this reason, it has been challenging to align with the existing regulations. So the official excuse of the club is that the reason why they announced that they're going to return only to recant that announcement is because supposedly we cannot meet the regulations because the regulations are for buildings that were already constructed and then ready to be host people again. But in the case of the stadium, the construction is going to continue. Look, to me, this is all nothing but more bullcrap excuses, because you're telling me you didn't know this 2 weeks ago when you announced that we're returning to the stadium. You didn't know that the regulations were going to be hard to comply by? Or how about this? How about not making an announcement until you actually have the permit in hand? Wouldn't that be a smarter decision? But anyways, on to the next bit of news, because ladies and gentlemen, it looks like Rafa Yuste is set to leave Barcelona and join the Saudi club Al Nassr, which is where Penaldo currently plows his trade. Now, as reported in previous video, Saudi media outlets had announced that Al Nassr were getting ready to poach Rafa Yuste and make him an offer that he could not resist. Initially, the stance of the club was that Rafa Yuste did not know anything about this, that there was, that Rafa Yuste had not made any decisions about leaving the club. Then the second bit of news that came out was that Rafa Yuste had traveled to Saudi Arabia to meet with executives from Al Nassr. And while it seems that the offer that these executives made Rafa Yuste was very convincing, because now it's reported that Rafa Yuste has reached a pre-agreement with Al Nassr to become their next CEO, and he is set to leave FC Barcelona. Now, Rafa Yuste has already met with Joan Laporta. He met with him 3 days ago over dinner to let him know of his decision to leave Barcelona and join Al Nassr. He has also informed the club that he will not be traveling to the Asia preseason tour in order to prepare for his move to Saudi Arabia. And even though this will be a huge blow for Joan Laporta, because Rafa Yuste is a childhood friend of his. They have businesses together. They were together during the first presidency of Laporta and now during the second. It's reported that Laporta does understand Rafa Yuste's decision to leave, because after all, Al Nassr have made him a multi-million-dollar offer. And of course, as a member of the executive board of FC Barcelona, you do not get paid, right? There's no salaries for the executive board. So this is a huge increase in salary, because you're going from zero to millions and millions of dollars, the kind of offer that you simply cannot say no to. Now, it's reported that the person who will replace Rafa Yuste as the sporting vice president of FC Barcelona will be Joan Soler, and once Rafa Yuste leaves, this announcement will be made official. Now, on to the next bit of news, because it's been confirmed that Barcelona could indeed get some money for the injury of Marc ter Stegen. Now, as reported in previous video, Marc ter Stegen has been training on his own at the gym away from the first team, and it's because he's having back discomfort. Yeah, there's a meeting set between ter Stegen, the club's doctors, and a spinal specialist in order to discuss the possibility of a surgery. The decision has not been made yet. However, if ter Stegen does decide to undergo surgery, this will mean that ter Stegen will be out for 4 months. And if this happens, it's reported that Barcelona could receive upwards of 2 million euros from FIFA. Why? Because, as you know, there's a rule that the FIFA has, that where if a player, the club player, gets injured while on international duty, and then the club cannot use that player for more than 28 days, then compensation is paid to that club. And while it's reported that this back discomfort started when ter Stegen was with Germany during the Nations League at the beginning of the summer. So if ter Stegen does indeed undergo surgery and he ends up being out for 4 months, Barcelona could receive 2 million euros in compensation. Plus, Barcelona could use La Liga rule to clear up 80% of his salary off their wage bill in order to register someone else, like maybe Marcus Rashford or Joan Garcia, which of course in the short term would be a good solution, but in the long term it's not, because after all, keeping ter Stegen with his huge salary, obviously that outweighs the benefits of having him out for 4 months, getting 2 million and 80% of his salary to register other players for only first half of the season. Now, on to the next bit of news, because ladies and gentlemen, the Luis Diaz chapter is finally over. Now, as I reported earlier today, Barcelona have officially signed Marcus Rashford. So this, of course, closes the chapter of Luis Diaz. But it's reported that the chapter was even closed before Barcelona decided to sign Marcus Rashford, or signed Marcus Rashford. And there's 2 reasons why this chapter is now officially over. The first one is, of course, the price that Liverpool are currently asking for. They're saying something around 85 million euros. Of course, Luis Diaz does not have a release clause, but it is reported that he reached kind of like a gentleman agreement with Liverpool, that if he does end up leaving, it would be nothing less than 85 million euros. And Barcelona were only willing to spend upwards of 60 million euros. That's how much they had budgeted for Nico Williams. Since Nico Williams did not come, that's how much they had to spend on any other left winger. So, of course, that's way less than what Liverpool are asking for. That's less than what Bayern Munich offered, 67 million euros, which was, of course, rejected. But the second reason why the Luis Diaz chapter is over, because it's reported now that Luis Diaz actually wants to go to Bayern. And in fact, Florian Plettenberg has announced that Luis Diaz has actually already communicated to Liverpool that he wants to go to Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich have made Luis Diaz their priority. And in fact, this operation has already been greenlit by their coach, Vincent Kompany. And it's reported that Bayern Munich are now getting ready to make a second offer for the Colombian attacker. So it looks like this chapter is over because A, Barcelona cannot afford it, and B, Luis Diaz has already made his decision of joining the Bundesliga. And I have to say, thank God, because I've gotten sick and tired of talking about Luis Diaz. I'm sure you guys have gotten sick and tired of listening to me talking about Luis Diaz. So hopefully this will be the last time we talk about the Colombian. Now, speaking of Liverpool's attackers, reports in England stating that Barcelona are currently tracking Darwin Nunez to see what happens with him. As you know, Darwin Nunez is set to leave Liverpool after, I want to say, failed time, because he did arrive with lots of fanfare, lots of expectations from Benfica. Of course, Barcelona were linked with Darwin Nunez back when he was at Benfica. All of Europe wanted Darwin Nunez. He ended up going to Liverpool, where it hasn't worked out so well, so now he's on his way out. And English media outlets stating that Barcelona are kind of tracking what happens with Darwin Nunez to see if they could, make an offer for him. I haven't been able to confirm this. If you ask me, this is probably just, the player or his agent or Liverpool, someone just driving hype saying, oh, Barcelona's interested in Darwin Nunez, kind of like just to create some hype behind him so it could create more interest from other clubs. That's my feeling, because after all, I don't see Barcelona wanting to sign Darwin Nunez. He only scored 7 goals in 42 matches last season. I mean, I have more goals in the Premier League than Darwin Nunez, and I don't even play in the Premier League. I'm not even a professional football player. But anyways, so I don't think there's any truth to these reports. I think this is just marketing. But anyways, that is all for this video. We'll be uploading another video in a few moments, so stay tuned to the channel. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment, and as always, Visca Barça.